Today is the April World News Update. How's everyone doing out there? Ladies, gentlemen, I'd like to welcome you again to this month's edition of the Quantum Light Conscious World News Update. We've got a lot of things to go over. I just wanted to really get into a couple of things that have been happening recently. Hope everyone's doing great out there. Hope you're enjoying the nice weather. Spring has sprung. Spring is here. There's a lot of things going on outside now. The weather is finally broken. There's cherry blossoms blooming everywhere. The sun is shining. There's a lot of good things that are now available to do outside once again. And that goes to everybody if you who have been stuck inside the winter all season. So just get outside, get some fresh air, get active again. It's time. All right. So I just wanted to just jump into a couple of things that have been going on in the collective. Last update I did was February, and so I figured it's time to just do one again now, and just just knock this out real quick. So the first thing I want to talk about that was like the biggest thing that recently happened was the Strait of Hormuz. That was a big thing that was like affecting all Americans and basically everybody, every global citizen who has a bank account, who has to drive a car. Oil prices went through the roof. Oil prices were just really catapulted through the roof recently, and you don't really realize how these things happen until you actually have to pay for it, right? So as everybody knows, like last month I think it was, early this month, the United States struck Iran, and then the leader of Iran was taken out. So the Strait of Hormuz is basically like a channel that oil tankers use to transport oil through the region from the Middle East out into the world. So basically, with anything, it's a channel that's like a valuable trade route. And within a trade route, you have specific ways countries make money off of that way of travel, and Iran was one of those countries that was heavily involved in that trade route. So after the United States struck Iran, Iran was literally saying, "Oh no, we're not letting anybody through. This is not going down. This is not happening." It's basically like their last-ditch effort to use any little shred of power that they have left to try to harass the world into thinking that they are doing something right for their country and for the people who they're supposed to be taking care of in their country. So so when the Strait of Hormuz was covered recently, they were basically talking about how the Iranian people have been so fed up with their country's fake leadership that they basically overthrew what was left of the leadership. And what recently happened was the new leadership in Iran made a deal with the United States saying that, hey guys, we don't condone anything that's going on in the strait here. We're actually going to pay you guys to now deal with Iran positively. So that's what they did, because Iran is basically just causing trouble for the entire world, as it happened for the past 47 years. So what Iran did was they paid the United States in oil to allow the United States to have a better relationship with them and utilize their channel in freedom. So that's recently what happened. And all this was at the aftermath of the United States strike on Iran, which is basically what we have to speak about next here. So as you know, the United States struck Iran. And when that happened, the world was shook. Everybody was like, oh my gosh, the United States just really just took out Iran's leader. So there were many things that were going on. Firstly, the Iranian people were celebrating. They were in the streets celebrating. They were celebrating all over the world. Every Iranian in the world was celebrating everywhere. The United States, in Boston, in New York, in Philadelphia, in LA, in Canada, in France, in Egypt, everywhere, literally everywhere, every Iranian anywhere was celebrating the death of this leader guy who was suppressing the Iranian people. So when the United States had done that, they had struck Iran specifically at the command center of the Iranian regime structure. They literally blew everything open. When that happened, world peace started to become more imminent. Okay? That's what's happening here. World peace. We're on a road to world peace. You can't have world peace with fake puppet, Bush CIA, terrorist regime feeding the deep state money. It doesn't work that way. Because Donald Trump is not the deep state. He's the opposite of the deep state. If you don't know that, please do some research and figure that out. Alright, please, this is 2026. Please figure it out. Okay? He's not bad. Alright? Orange Man, not bad. Okay? So, I say this because there's a lot of people who were protesting the United States strike on Iran, which is very, very ironic and very, very hypocritical based off of who Iran is and who these protesters actually think they believe in and what these protesters actually think they believe in. And this goes against the reality of all Iranians all over the world, all over the globe. Just blackout, just completely ignoring an entire population of people and what they've suffered for 47 years, just blacking out, saying, I don't care what the Iranian people have been dealing with for 47 years. I don't like the United States. I think these people are actually being suppressed. It's like the amount of pride and arrogance and sickness is unprecedented for people to actually try to protest Iran being dismantled and reconstructed. Okay? If any of them know anything, they should know that Iran had a hand in the 9/11 attacks. Okay? And we all know who did the 9/11 attacks. The Bush CIA. Alright? And it's just, and they easily get confused. These protesting people easily get confused. And it's just so ironic, and the hypocrisy is through the roof. Alright? So when you see people celebrating in the streets over their own leader getting destroyed in their own capital city, think, for one. Number two, look at what the people are saying. Number three, look at their reaction. Alright? There's so many videos of these people like literally having meltdowns, having breakdowns, just crying with joy, with tears in their eyes, celebrating, dancing, hugging each other, running, just doing anything to celebrate freedom, This has been the biggest victory for women ever. So ever in the past probably like 200 years since women were able to start voting. Like for an entire population of people, there's like 90 million people live in Iran. All right, probably half of them are women. Okay, probably half of them are women. Okay, and if you know Iran, you know Iran does not treat women like human beings. Iran treats women like they're lower, like they're less than people. Okay, and they've been suppressed and they've been forced to be indoctrinated into this religion that's not even their background. That's not even their cultural background, and they've been forced to wear a hijab, and they've been forced to do things in their marriage, and being forced married off into people, and been forced to do certain things since they were kids. You know, they're not allowed to, past a certain age, they're not allowed to play with certain people in public. They're not allowed to wear certain things. They're not allowed to do certain things. They're not allowed to learn certain things. They're not allowed to be certain places out during certain times of the day. They're not allowed to work certain jobs. They're not allowed to do anything. Okay? And then you have these protesters protesting for this. They're protesting for this. Like they don't know what's happening. You know, they don't know what Iran is. It's just like they literally dislike the United States so much that if anything happens, it doesn't matter how good it is, they're going to go out and be like, oh, no kings, guys, no kings. What king are you talking about? What king is there? It's like this mass delusion that just continues to just get worse. And it's just like, how can you ignore the biggest victory for women, the most suppressed people in the world right now, were those women in Iran? How can you ignore that and then be like, oh, no, they should still be in what they were. Iran is a sovereign place. Iran was sovereign. No, it wasn't. It wasn't sovereign. It wasn't sovereign. Neither was Venezuela. Neither was Gaza. Neither is Cuba, which is about to come next. So, if any of you are outside protesting, please get it together. Please stop protesting. Please start learning and looking at what's going on. Please start listening to your higher self. Please start listening to your inner intuition and figure it out. Figure out what's going on in the world, guys. Figure it out, alright? This is probably like, I don't know, this is like the 7th or 8th video I've made like this, saying the same type of stuff. And if you're watching this, I am extremely grateful and humbled and blessed to have you as a viewer. And if you're viewing this, you're probably not doing this. You're literally probably not doing this. Yet, to my viewers out there, if you watch this video and you know people who are out doing this stuff, just, I don't know, say a prayer for them, post some positivity online, post some things that are going to make them think for themselves online. Because I know I can't go on my Instagram, my personal Instagram, without people just constantly just blasting all this garbage about, how the Iran war is another negative war that's never going to end. Just like, no, that's done. That's done with. That's over with. What moves are you looking at that makes you think that from this presidency? You know, is there an endless war in Venezuela? What happened there? What happened? Are those people still suppressed and they're still being fucking run over by tanks and armored trucks? And are their relatives still dying in the streets because Maduro's holding their medication and all the resources? Okay. What about the Gaza war? Are all these people still getting killed and massacred nonstop? Are all these people still getting shot nonstop because Joe Biden is continuing the war and continuing to do all these things? You know? Like what's going on? What's going on? This is a third country now with Iran. Iran's now free. And it's the same thing over again. Like, this is a massive delusion, guys. It's a massive delusion. Please. It's more deep than you think. There's like a psychosis energy that goes through the field, the etheric field that goes from person's skull to person's skull to person's skull. And it's like an etheric net that literally gets all these people thinking and banging the same bullshit thought wave off of each other. Like, oh, I hate Trump, oh, I hate this, oh, I hate that, oh, I hate this, oh, he's doing the same thing, oh, they're just doing it for money, oh, they're just doing it for oil, oh, they're just doing it for endless war. Just, that's not how it is. And you still have people saying, oh, I don't like this presidency. Well, you must not like being free. You must not like positivity. You must not like awakening and actually having like a sovereign government. You must not like it. You literally must not. Like, you're literally not understanding what's happening in the world. You're not understanding. Like, people who say that, they're just not understanding it. So these are things that are important. They're very important for you to just look at and just understand and see for your own self. See with your own eyes. Visualize and say, huh, so after all these things, when Trump struck Iran, that was just another piece that fell when Iran was continuously attacking all these countries. They attacked like 12 countries in like 12 hours with all these missiles. They were just going crazy. Like, and you know, it's just like, people think Trump made that up. Why the fuck would why would he make that up? He's the most powerful person in the world. Why would he have to make this stuff up? He was a billionaire before he even got into office. He was rich before he even got into office. Like, it's not, he doesn't have the same motives as anybody. Like, he doesn't have to do any of this. None of it. He doesn't even take a paycheck. He's lost money since he's gotten office. So Iran had to be stopped. Iran was not a sovereign government. Regardless of what these no kings, ridiculous people want to say in the streets with their ridiculously colored hair, with these ridiculous colored flags, with these ridiculous colored clothing, Iran was not a good place to live in if you were a sovereign being. Iran was tyranny. Iran was terrorism. Iran was destruction. You know, Iran was oppression. If you know anything about Iran, you don't want to go there. You do not want to go there. Still, to this day, they're still developing and they're still taking their power back. Now, what President Trump did was a positive thing for everybody. He freed the country and he allowed their country to take their sovereignty back. The week that the airstrikes happened, a PSA was aired nonstop during the Iranian TV newsfeed of President Trump saying, now's the time for you guys to take your power back. Now is the time for you guys to be in the streets doing things to make sure your government can function as a sovereign entity again. And, you know, that was, you know, of course, that was misconstrued by the media, the fake media, the dishonest media, the corruptive media, saying, oh, Donald Trump says for the Iranian people to overthrow the government. You know, I mean, technically he did say that because the Iran government, the regime, was never even Iranian to begin with. Okay, 47 years ago, the Bush CIA set up a coup against the Persian Prime Minister to overthrow the government and install a fake puppet, radical Islamic religious puppet military organization in there to do their bidding, to bring about a source of terror, to feed fear, to feed endless global conflict, to have a point of power to where they can cause any type of problem anywhere, and then they get to go in and continue the conflict for endless war and endless profit and endless destruction and endless oppression over, you know, anywhere they want. So that's what they did. And it was terrible because Iran actually used to be a Western civilization. They used to be a civilization where people were free. People used to be able to dress however they wanted. People used to be able to raise their kids and enjoy music and listen to whatever they wanted and watch movies and watch films and watch any type of TV that they wanted and eat any type of food that they wanted and go anywhere and do anything that they wanted.
Oh, I cannot explain. Every time it's the same. Oh, I feel that it's real. Take my heart. I've been lonely too long. Oh, I can't be so strong.
Yet, unfortunately, the Bush CIA changed that and oppressed people with a government that was not even theirs. Picture somebody coming to your country, wherever you live at. If you live in the United States, which is a good example, because it almost happened last administration. Picture somebody taking power in the United States and changing the entire country, saying, okay, now the entire country is doing this religion. You're no longer free. You no longer have a freedom to do your own religion, whatever you want to do. Now we're doing this religion with this language. And then they start changing the flag. They say, oh, okay, it's not this any longer. It is now this type of religion with this symbol. And now you got to do what we say. You got to be here. You got to do this. You got to wear this. You can only watch this, this, and this. You can only read this and this and this. You can only do this, this, and this for your entire life. Or else you're going to get shot. Or else you're dead. And your family's dead. Do what you say. Do what we say. Or else. Or else. You know? And that's what happened 47 years ago. Slowly, progressively, by the time the 70s and 80s hit, it was over for Iran. Like, it was like literally, like, get out or be suppressed or die there. You know, it's like, you know, it was awful. And all this corruption, all this negativity, all this pain, all this fear came from the Middle East. It came from a nuclear fallout that happened in the Middle East 5,000 years ago. So all this doesn't just happen out of nowhere. There's a massive imbalance that has been causing so much pain and dissonance and imbalance within the minds and hearts of the people of the Middle East that made it a region that was easily controlled by negative forces from the Bush CIA. Okay, it was because of this nuclear fallout that happened. Okay, a long time ago. Okay, so that's also good information to know. So this nuclear fallout actually caused the fall of Rome. It caused the fall of Greece. It caused the fall of Egypt. And it caused the fall of Atlantis. All these things that we all know and love as our past lives, as our heritage, as our galactic selves that we have fond memories from. The Middle East had a hand in that. The Middle East had a part in that, in the destruction of those civilizations, unfortunately. And a lot of it had to do with the Anunnaki. It all had to do with the Anunnaki. The Anunnaki, I personally don't resonate with. I personally am not a fan of the Anunnaki. I look at the Anunnaki every time, like, maybe I could find a soul piece of something that I can use as like a positive part of my story here on Earth, my galactic embodiment on Earth. Every time my higher self's like, no, just stay away from it. No, just stay away for now. Just stay away for now. You're not ready for it. I'm like, okay, all right, you know. So the Anunnaki were like this type of like, they were a slave race, like themselves. They were a slave race who were very highly controlled, and they were on Earth, and they were creating kingdoms for themselves. Yet they were at the heat of galactic controllers who were controlling them to breed themselves as a slave race for the accumulation of gold. That's about as simple as I can put it. That's how my higher selves want you to hear the truth, because it's true. If you go to Iran and you go to the Middle East, you see all types of Anunnaki artifacts and ruins and ancient places. It all has to do with the Stargate closing. There is a massive conflict there between the Anunnaki and themselves, and them fighting over their own Stargate, and then them imploding, and them like causing this ridiculously terrible dissonance in that region. And after that happened, the Stargate has been offline. It hasn't been able to be in alignment, to be active, to help anything about the world, in the world, for the world, which is why so much conflict has been generated there easily, okay? And which is why there has been so many problematic issues stemming from there that have infiltrated from there into the minds and hearts of other people in other civilizations like Atlantis, Egypt, Rome, Greece. All those fell because of this ancient flaw that happened with the Anunnaki. Alright, guys, if you follow me here, guys, ladies, if you follow me here, hope you can like feel the truth in this what I'm telling you here. All right, because I like to do these news updates, and I like to actually like try to connect the dots to make you feel like everything is all one. Everything makes sense. Everything actually has a purpose and actually has a cause and effect of what is actually being explained here and what is actually playing out right now in the collective. All right. So after Stargate fell, it's now like 5,000 years later. The Stargate's finally coming back online. There's been a realignment, and the Stargate's finally clearing, and it's being reactivated and being brought back into usability. And this is the positive thing, because once that Stargate gets active, we're all set. We're all set. There is no problem area. There's no more problem area. That's the worst part of the world. Look at what happened in Gaza. That was the worst thing we've seen. That's the worst thing we've seen in a long time, right? That was pretty bad. That was very bad, you know. And you know, now with Iran, you know, there was 30,000 people killed in a week, in like a weekend. All right, CNN didn't report it. MSNBC didn't report it. I don't even think Fox News reported it. Like literally, they shut the internet off in Iran because everybody was protesting because nobody wanted this fake bullshit CIA government military regime as their leaders any longer, and they killed 35,000 people. All right, and they were lying about it. They're lying about it. They lied about it to Trump. They lied about it to independent news media. They lied about it to other foreign governments. They lied about it all. All right, but they killed 35,000 people. Okay, nobody heard about it. Why? Because if they don't talk about it, then the fake news media definitely isn't going to talk about it because they're on their side. CNN is on the side of the Ayatollah, who is now dead. You know, who's now dead. That guy's now dead. All right. So, you know, you have all these sympathizers, these Ayatollah sympathizers, and you have all these Maduro sympathizers, and then you have all these other people just sympathizing for the Gaza war not ending. They're out of their minds. They're actually out of their minds. And for all people, for this war to be started and now ended, because the war's over. The war's now over. No, I don't know who was constantly complaining and why they're constantly complaining about this Iran war. The Iran war is now over because of the Strait of Hormuz. All right, and I don't know like how more ironic it can get that the main country who had to help stop Iran after 47 years had to be Israel. Israel, the dude who did Gaza, you know, who started the Gaza, who was the main perpetrator of the Gaza war. You know, it's just, you can't write this stuff. You actually can't write this stuff. You actually have to have a brewing world leader to befriend a guy like that, get him to stop genociding Gaza, get him on your side, and then convince him that it's for his own benefit to stop another genocidal country. It's brilliant. It's actually brilliant because, you know, Israel did everything the United States wanted them to do. That's a positive thing, guys. This isn't some type of, oh, he's doing this in the back end, he's doing this on the front end, but Israel's doing something on the back end somewhere else. Like, that's not happening. Israel's playing ball now because Israel knows it's not a good thing to keep fucking genociding people, because at the end it stops the value of your country. Your country value is going to go down. Your GDP is going to go down. Every person is going to hate you in the world. Every country is going to hate you in the world. Nobody's going to want to deal with you. Your sources of income are going to go down and plummet. Your country is going to fail, just like a company. This is how these people think. They only think with money. So, you know, Donald Trump, he's the money guy. He got into Israel's ear and he's saying, hey, if you keep genociding Gaza like this, your country's going to be done. You're done. You're going to cease to exist eventually. You know, if you keep doing stuff like this, nobody's going to want to deal with you. So, that's what happened. The only negative thing about what happened with this Iran strike was Israel went a little bit too crazy, and then they hit all the oil fields. When they hit all the oil fields, the cost of gas skyrocketed up. So that's why, the Strait of Hormuz was like a big thing recently, because after Israel went a little bit too crazy and hit all the gas fields, all of that oil went up in smoke. And with Wall Street, all they can see is what's happening. They say, oh my God, sell, 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 buy, 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 buy. All they can do is panic. That's all Wall Street does, is look and panic. Just looks, and it's like, oh my gosh, panic. And it's just like, although nothing actually happened, like everything's under control. But now everybody's paying. When I go to fill my truck up, now it's like $150. It's nuts. Everything's controlled by money. But it's not even the money, it's the perception of money. And it's not even the perception of money, it's the perception of what is valuable, right? So when an oil field is blown up, that means, oh, well, there's less oil now. Guess what? The oil's now more valuable. Skyrocket the price. So it's just like, that's how the world works, unfortunately, right now. So we have to live through it with the Strait of Hormuz thing, okay? So I feel like everything is working towards a positive route. Everything is happening for the good of the planet, and things are playing out the way that they're supposed to. At this time, unfortunately, we're supposed to be paying high gas prices. At this time, unfortunately, we're supposed to be watching clueless people riot and protest the freedom and liberty and unenslavement of battered, brutal, and beaten countries like Iran and Gaza and Venezuela. We're supposed to be watching these ridiculous first world people protest that. Why? Because it adds more depth to your character when you see somebody who's never actually been through actual hardship protest somebody else who never even knew anything else except endless war. It's like, huh, like, so this is what it feels like to live in a free country. This is actually what it feels like. Because you go and look at the experience that the people in Iran are having, it's like, wake up and fight or die, I saw this video, it was people running down the street, just throwing rocks, unarmed, just wearing much like rags. They're wearing rags, they're running through the street, they're throwing rocks at the Capitol Police, who have AK-47s. And there's so many more people than these heavily armed police officers that the police officers are fleeing. They're fleeing. And then you see people picking their rocks saying, yeah, freedom, just throwing the rocks at these people with these AK-47s, and they're running. And they don't care if they die. They don't care, because freedom it's so valuable to them. They don't care about anything else, because that's the only thing that they have to look forward to. That's the only thing, because they were born and brought up in that, and they haven't known anything else. They haven't known anything else. So when you see these people protesting, people who have nothing to get their freedom, in the United States or in anywhere else that's very privileged and is not third world, that is very first world, just say something like, hey, maybe you guys should look at this. Maybe you guys should actually do some research. Maybe you guys should actually look at what the Iranians have actually been experiencing. Maybe you guys shouldn't actually be talking unless you understand what it was like to live in Iran. Maybe you shouldn't actually look at only what CNN, MSNBC, CBS have to show you, because they're lying. Because they actually put the Ayatollah in power. They actually are the ones funding the war. They're actually propaganda machines that actually profit off war. And the people who own these companies, these news companies, will never tell you that, because they want these protests to happen. And because they're also funding the protests. They're actually funding the No Kings protest stuff. They're actually funding the LGBT stuff. They're actually funding the body surgeries for these transgender people. They're actually funding child trafficking. They're actually funding defund the police. All of that. You'd be surprised, who the people actually are who own CNN, NBC, and CBS. And BBC. That's like 4 of the 6 major companies. 5 or 6 major companies. So another thing that's very recent that recently happened was the TSA lack of funding. You have the United States legislation going at odds. You have the people who want world peace, the people who want sovereignty, the people who want safety for the entire United States and their citizens to have prosperity, who are the Republicans right now. The current administration. Donald Trump is not even a Republican. He's just a person who's in the middle. He's in the middle. He wants positivity for everybody. He wants peace and freedom for everybody, the entire world. He just happened to have to use a party, and that party happened to be the Republican Party. So right now you have the Republicans who want to fund TSA for the airport security and travel, and then you want Democrats who don't want to fund TSA. It's just like, why wouldn't Democrats want to fund TSA? Number one, because they don't want laws, which is obvious, because most of them are Satanists and pedophiles. Most of them. Okay? They don't want security in the airports, which means, obviously, they don't want border security, which it's obvious they don't, because last administration, they voted for open security. They voted for endless immigrants to be flooded into the United States. Now, why would they do that? Because they can use them for anything. If you take people who are desperate, who don't know where their next meal is ever going to come from, and you bring them into the United States, and you feed them, and you give them EBT cards with $15,000 on them, you could tell them to do anything, and they're going to do it. You could tell them to burn down California, like Gavin Newsom did. He paid homeless people and migrants to burn down California, and it was called a film. All right. You could pay them to show up at a voting booth and voting polls and cast votes, especially if you pass legislation to say that voting ID is not needed. Right? So that's another thing that they've been doing. They've been paying migrants to show up and cast votes, which are fake because they're not actually American citizens, to pass legislation and laws that nobody wants, that the American people do not want, that is not good for anybody. Why? So they can continue manipulating and taking advantage of America and what America stands for. And number three, you take those immigrants and people who are not American citizens and use them to protest and do any other types of things, cause any other types of violence that you want them to cause. Like, why would the Democrats want to do that? Because they believe in Satanism. What is Satanism? Do whatever you want. You know, just do it. That's what it is. That's what they believe in. They want people to just have all types of chaos everywhere. So what they do is they pay these migrants to cause all types of perceptual problems. Okay? They pay them to protest. They pay them to stand in front of vehicles. They pay them to picket. They pay them to start fights. They pay them to burn Teslas. You know, all these things. All these things. They pay them to burn American flags. They pay them to break storefronts and loot and steal and do all these things. Why? So all the cameras can catch it. And they say, oh, look, all this is happening because they don't want what the Republicans are actually doing. They don't want what's actually happening with this positive administration. Nobody wants this. Look, Orange Man bad. You know, it's just like, you know, they're doing this for the downfall of America, guys. That's what they're doing it for. They're doing it because they don't want positive and freedom and world peace. You know, they have a person in their own party who married their own brother. It's just like, where are these people coming from? And it's just endless, nonstop with this. Just like they don't want us to succeed. They don't want America to be free. Yet, it's bad news for them because the old America is coming back. America wasn't ever actually supposed to be this 1950s rendition to where it's just like, oh yeah, we're a nuclear family and we don't talk to anybody else. And we're in our own clique and we're alone. We love being alone because we don't trust anybody. It was never supposed to be like that. It was never supposed to be, oh, don't trust your neighbor. Oh, don't trust people. Oh, don't trust the government. Oh, don't trust society. Oh, society's backwards. You know, oh, schools, it was never supposed to be like that, ever. You know, you have a lot of infiltration and negativity that was put into the government after World War II ended, which, if you know what happened after World War II, America actually didn't win World War II. It was a truce between America and the Nazis, and the Nazis ended up infiltrating America and taking a lot of top spots in the military and in the governments and in the societies and in science and in healthcare and in education, unfortunately. So when that happened, America was like, America got pretty sick for a few decades there. Yet after 2010, yet after 2016, when Trump got elected the first time, things started to turn around. And then it went in nosedive. If you were around for the last 4 years of Joe Biden, everything went rainbow and satanic, and all these types of crazy chaos things started happening, like COVID. And, you know, it was not good. So then Trump got elected again in 2024, and now things are going back up. Here's the thing, guys. The administration currently cannot be taken away from us. We have the power to keep it. We have the power to actually make sure that it's still going to last. Okay, because Trump is now basically a positive George Bush. Okay, if you knew George Bush Sr., he was the guy who, like, basically ran the world, you know, until he died in 2016. Once he died in 2016, like I said in my last video, guess what? Trump shows up with notes at his funeral, passing them out to every wife of every elite, saying, the old guard is dead, the new guard is here. Get prepared. And then you see their faces. Look at the note. And it's just like comedic gold, comedy gold, because it was real life. That stuff was happening. That stuff was really happening. You're awake in 2016, and you're looking at the cascading events happening like, oh my God, who is actually going to be president now? Obama's gone. It's going to be Hillary Clinton, or it's going to be Donald Trump. Because if it's Hillary Clinton, we're all going to die. We know who she is. We got to take a chance with this guy, this game show celebrity businessman person. You know, that's what we did, and it turned out good. It turned out very good, because Trump isn't just a random guy. He's actually in a bloodline, in a galactic bloodline, descended down from the Ascended Master Saint Germain, which is why a lot of people hate him, because he has like genetics that expand very far, and they are very potent, and they're very powerful, and these genetic wavelengths easily agitate people, because people can feel that, because he's a powerful person, because he knows how to extend his will and his intention out through the world. So when people mention Trump, they're like, oh, this guy, oh God, I hate him, oh my God. It's because he has a lot of power. Alright? It's because he's a powerful person. And when you have a powerful person who has a genetic line that's been unbroken, you have people who hate him. That's just how it is. You're going to have people who hate a person like that. Alright? And what the news media has been doing is literally taking advantage of that and constantly pushing it, and amping it up, and trying to kill him, and pushing all these negative agendas. saying all these lies about him. Oh, did you hear? J.D. Vance got booed at the Olympics. Like, if you hear that, if you hear anybody say that, it's obviously a lie. It's just like, but the news media will pull on this, and then they'll get people who didn't even watch the Olympics to say like, oh yeah, JD, he got booed, he sucks. But like, it didn't happen. It would never happen. And if you believe it, just take a look at the footage of the Olympics. So, without going into too much, those are the things I want to talk to you about today because they're important. So all the things that have been taking place all have a purpose. They all have a purpose because this is a very unique position that humanity is in. We're all here with our own unique soul purpose, or with our unique path that we're supposed to be walking here. As we walk, we see ourselves in the position manifesting what we're supposed to be doing here in our lives, and it's a beautiful thing. So when you show up in your life, make sure that you're doing the right thing, make sure you're tuning into the right thing, and make sure you're showing up for yourself, most importantly, because when you do that, you guarantee the highest outcome for you and for the people around you. Okay, so peace and love. If you guys would like a session, I do sessions at quantumlife.org. I do healing, I do energy reading, coaching, intuitive reading, custom art. I also have a t-shirt line, empathleague.com, an organite line, empathleague.com. Check those out. Lots of cool stuff coming there for you soon. Take care. I love you. Talk to you soon.